Hey, what is going on, guys? DK. Back at you with another video here to bring the Thursday Night Football Showdown slate between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Cincinnati Bengals. Should be a barn burner, right? That's now 3 straight Thursday Night Football games that have been not the best teams, but hey, we have a million maker up top, so I'll do my best to break it all down. But if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make daily videos as well as live stream for NBA and NFL slates on Draftkings. Guys, NBA is 5 days away preseason. I repeat, 5 days. Cannot wait for that. Only one game preseason on Sunday for NBA, but then we got a full slate on Monday. So going to be a grind there, but so excited for that to be back. If you guys are unable to watch these YouTube videos, I also upload on Apple Podcasts. Link down below. It's called the DKDFS Show. I apologize for my first look video I uploaded last night, or technically this morning. I had the background of the Monday night slate, so I had to delete it. I wanted to, on Sunday, I wanted to get out my first look video, so I stayed up to like 3, 4 a.m. and then scheduled it to upload early. And then I wake up the next day and it's like, nope. So I had to delete it. But if you guys want to go listen to that, again, that's an Apple Podcast, the first look video. I'll go over my lineup from the main slate week 3 here in a sec, just for those who weren't able to see it. If you guys are interested in signing up for premium content, I'll offer that on patreon.com. Link down below. Again, NFL package cover all the show and slates as well as the main slate. And I do want to thank the sponsor of this show, Prize Picks. So if you guys are not familiar with Prize Picks, I was just checking out some NBA futures. There are 2 different ways you can play. The first way is single stat, where you can take over under on passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, receptions, all that good stuff. Or you can go over to fantasy score right now. That's down for some reason. I think Prize Picks is having some issues. But basically, you can just take Joe Mixon, for example, would be at 20. So you either take the over or under on Joe Mixon fantasy points at 20. Pretty simple. You can also mix and match sports. They have every single sport that you can think of. So if you guys want to try it out and sign up, use my code DKDFS. DKDFS, all one word. Link down below. You get a 100% match up to $100. And finally, I want to thank you guys again for your continued support coming in and watching these videos every single day, hitting the like button, coming and watching all the live streams. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. If you could hit that like button, let's try to aim for 100. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload videos and go live. As always, again, I'll be doing a live stream on Thursday to do a general Q&A, going over everything, answer any questions you guys have. Okay, so before we get into the Thursday night breakdown, let's go over my lineup quick from the main slate on Sunday for those who weren't able to see it. So Sunday went pretty well for me. Went with a Charger stack: Herbert, Eckler, Keenan Allen. Brought it back with CEH and McCole Hardman. Again, I was told Clyde Edwards-Helaire was dead. I was told he was toast, right? Looked pretty good when he was out there today, or on Sunday. I used Ridley, was fine. And then Kyle Pitts continues to be a letdown. I'll probably continue to play him. Again, get the clown paint on my face. And then Cooper Kupp, obviously, he's just been phenomenal this year. So that was my main slate lineup on Sunday. And then for the Showdown slate, got in the cash. It was a weird one, right? That was a weird game. You had a lot of the chalk bust. We'll go over, I want to talk about some ownership really quick. In the luxury box, we'll go over the winning lineup there. But yeah, so my lineup was Jalen Hurts in the captain. That's how I was kind of hammering home on Patreon. I really wanted to get him in the captain with his rushing upside. Didn't look great the first half, but obviously, garbage time very much helped him. So Hurts in captain with Prescott. CeeDee Lamb was actually the best spend-up wide receiver of the main spend-ups, right? Being CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Devontae Smith. CeeDee Lamb was technically the best. I used Rager, Jarwin, and Ertz. So I left $1,100 on the table. The lineup I was messing with originally had Devontae Smith over Rager, and that used all the salary. But my thinking was, that's going to be a little bit too popular, right? I always try to get unique in tournaments. What I did was, I went from Devontae Smith to Jalen Rager. Probably, suboptimal, right? Devontae Smith more often than not is going to outscore Jalen Rager, but not tonight, right? Rager outscored Devontae Smith, and I had that edge to the field. Rager was a lot lower owned, and Jarwin was not great. Dalton Schultz catching both touchdowns is a little bit tilting, but Zach Ertz, on the other hand, did get in. He was much better point per dollar than Dallas Goedert. So that's it for the look back, guys, on my slate. Again, it was a weird one, but let's quickly now go over the luxury boxing, and this is a $2,000 entry. So this is the winning lineup. Hurts in the captain with Prescott. Zeke, who's only 20% owned. Devontae Smith was actually the chalk in this. He was higher owned than Cooper and Lamb. I thought that was interesting. Cedric Wilson and Zach Ertz. So let's just quickly go over some ownership. A couple things I want to point out. So again, the one thing that kind of surprised me was Devontae Smith was more popular than Lamb and Amari Cooper in the super high stakes. Again, this is a $2,000 entry. And that the two cheap tight end, I wasn't surprised about this because it's just, when Ertz and Goddard are going to play the same amount and Ertz is like $4,000 cheaper, obviously he's going to get way more ownership in the high stakes. So Zach Ertz, 41% in the super high stakes, and Dallas Goedert basically unowned at 5%. And same situation with the Dallas guys. Blake Jarwin, 33%. Dalton Schultz, 4%. So in the super high stakes stuff, ownership condenses on the good plays, right? Ertz and Jarwin just made more sense point per dollar. Now, obviously, Schultz had the better game than Jarwin, but Ertz better than Goddard. And that doesn't matter about that. I'm just saying point per dollar, when they were basically playing about the same and cheaper, they made more sense. So they got way more ownership in the high stakes. And a guy like Tony Pollard, who I was completely off of video live stream, was like, Tony Pollard is very overpriced, was 10% in this. I think in like the middle maker, he was about 25%. So I always like going over ownership in super high stakes because, again, ownership will condense on the good plays. I recommend you guys check that out. And if you're curious how to do this, you just go to DraftKings, view live contests when it's going on, and then you can click on the luxury box and check out ownership. So maybe I'll keep posting this if you guys like this, go over ownership in high stakes. But those are the couple things that I found interesting was the two cheap tight ends, ownership condensed on them, and then Devontae Smith was more popular than Lamb and Amari Cooper. I thought, again, that was very, very interesting. Okay, so let's talk about this one now, Jags and Bengals. The 45.5 over under, and the Bengals are currently 7.5 point favorites. So starting off on the Jacksonville side, Trevor Lawrence at 10.4K. The Bengals actually have been pretty solid defensively, so I think he's the riskier of the two quarterbacks. He's been turnover prone to 2 picks the first 3 games. So what is that? 7 turnovers through 3 games, interceptions. Not great. So I'm not saying to fade Trevor Lawrence. I still think he's a safe option, but I do think he's a little bit riskier than a guy like Joe Burrow. I like the matchup a little bit better on that side of the ball. Oh, let's go over some snap counts. So this is for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So let's start with running back. So running back, Carlos Hyde played 34% of the snaps. Darway Ogunbowale played a couple, and James Robinson played 60% of the snaps. At the tight end position, so again, O'Shaughnessy got injured last week, so Hollister played actually a majority of the snaps. He played 68%. Chris Manhertz, 37%. They also picked up Dan Arnold. We'll see if he's going to play in the game on Thursday. And then a wide receiver, no real surprise here. Chark, 87% of the snaps. Laviska Shenault out of the slot, 65%. And Marvin Jones Jr., 97% of the snaps. So, yeah, back to Robinson at 9.4. He finally had a good week last week. 15 carries, 88 yards, 6 catches on 6 targets. I think he is fine contrarian spin up. Don't know if I'm going to prioritize him in an optimal build. But he's still a guy that is involved in the pass game, right? 6, 3, and 6 targets for the first 3 games. Not bad. He's about out-snapping Carlos Hyde now 2-1. So Robinson, definitely the safest running back to target. But we'll get to Carlos Hyde's price. He's cheap enough where he's viable. At wide receiver, so Marvin Jones Jr. at 8.6K, DJ Chark at 7.2, Laviska Shenault at 6.6. So start off with that MJJ, Marvin Jones Jr., getting a ton of targets. Basically right now averaging about 10 targets a game. The positive with the Jags wide receivers are almost every single game they're going to be playing from behind. So going to be good game script for these guys. Lawrence is going to have to air it out. MJJ's been their most consistent receivers. I think he's probably the safest option. DJ Chark at 7.2K. He's a guy that does have a good amount of upside. We haven't really seen a breakout game yet from DJ Chark, but I would say of the 3 wide receivers, he's probably the guy that can go get like 30 fancy points. So I think he has the most upside. And Laviska Shenault playing the least amount of snaps, but he's going to play a lot in the slot, get those short targets. So he did only have 4 targets last. I'm not super concerned about that. Expect it to be in like kind of the 8 to 10 range for Shenault. So, yeah, going to run the short routes, safer option out of the slot. So that's kind of my take on the 3 receivers there for Jacksonville. Again, O'Shaughnessy is on the IR, so tight end is going to be a question mark here for Jacksonville. So Hollister played a majority of the game last game. He played like 60+% of the snaps, had 2 catches on 6 targets. But if Dan Arnold's not available, then Jacob Hollister is going to be the main pass-catching tight end for the Jags. The Jags are most likely to be playing from behind in this one. I think Hollister would be a good value. But if Arnold is available, then that just throws a wrench into things, right? Obviously, these stats from Dan Arnold are from Carolina. Is he going to be available on a short week? I don't know. So this will be a situation we'll have to monitor, right? If Dan Arnold is inactive, then I think Hollister is a really solid value. If Dan Arnold's going to play, hopefully we get some clarity on playing time, but then it would kind of be a mess, and we wouldn't really know what the Jags are going to do unless they clarify before the game. Lambeau 3-6. Fine. Probably prefer the Bengals kicker, though, just more confident in their offense. The Jags DL pass on. Again, you need to pick 6. You actually got 2 defensive touchdowns in the show and slate tonight, which was kind of crazy. So if you played the defenses in the show and slate tonight, congrats. Manhurst is a blocking tight end. He has 2 targets through 3 weeks. Not super interested there. So I mentioned Carlos Hyde. Yeah, he's only 1.8. I'm not a Carlos Hyde fan. I think he's very much washed at this point of his career. But that doesn't matter, right? He's still playing snaps for the Jags. If you go back and look and see how many snaps he played last game. So Carlos Hyde, 34% of the snaps. At only 1.8K, he doesn't need a lot to pay off the salary. 4 targets through 3 weeks, not terrible. So he is definitely a punt play that is viable. You're not going to feel great about it. And then, yeah, we already talked about Hollister, not another situation there with tight end. Everything else is basically dart throw. Agnew played a couple snaps. He is a good punt returner. Obviously, he returned that missed field goal last game. Tyrone Johnson only played 2 snaps. Treadwell got moved to the practice squad. So, yeah, not much. Dorsett, how many snaps did he play? Only a few. I think he was 4th, though. He played 10% of the snaps, which was technically 4th for wide receiver, but again, it's just a large field dart throw type play. All right, moving on to Cincinnati Bengals. So let's go over these snap counts here for the Bengals. At running back last week, Joe Mixon played a majority of the snaps, 74%. Perrine played 21%. Chris Evans, 11%. At tight end, so CJ Uzoma played 70%. Drew Sample, 45%. At wide receiver, Jamar Chase, 83%. Tyler Boyd, 79%. The interesting thing here is Auden Tate actually got the boost without no T. Higgins. He played 57% as opposed to Mike Thomas, the better Michael Thomas, played only 21% of the snaps. So we'll get to that in that pricing, but I think there's possibly some value here for the Bengals, depending, obviously, on the T. Higgins status. So we'll start with Joe Burrow, 11-6. I think he's the safer quarterback to target in this slate. Like the matchup a little bit better. Burrow actually hasn't been throwing the ball a ton. They were playing from lead, though, obviously, for Pittsburgh, so he only threw the ball 18 times. Again, I think he's slightly safer than Lawrence. Not saying he's the better play than Lawrence. I just think he is a safer option. Joe Mixon, 11K, I think is one of the safest options also on the board. Playing a majority of the game, involved in the passing game. Good matchup here. Should be good game script. I think Mixon looks very, very safe. You are going to pay premium, but again, very, very safe option. Now, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, the 2 healthy wide receivers. Talk about these 2 guys first. So Chase at 10-2, don't mind him. My issue here is he's very lucky with touchdown variance, right? Meaning he's had 4 touchdowns through 3 games. I'm not sure he's going to average over a touchdown every single game. So what that did, it bumped his price way up to 10.2K. Whereas, a guy like Tyler Boyd playing similar snaps is only 7.4K. So sure, Boyd has only gotten the end zone once, but he's $3,000 cheaper. Both are going to play the same amount. I'm not saying Chase is out of play. I just do think he is going to be a little bit over-owned. People are going to chase those touchdowns. For example, tonight, right? The slate would have been a lot different if that bomb to CeeDee Lamb, if he didn't get tackled at the 1-yard line and then Zeke pounded it in, right? Would have changed the entire slate. So touchdown variance is something I don't try to predict, but Yeah, Boyd probably looks a little bit better point per dollar than Chase. Obviously, Chase still in play. He's still a talented rookie wide receiver. And then T. Higgins is the big news here, listed as a non-participant in Monday's practice. So my guess is that's not good news in a short week. So we'll get to a couple cheap wide receivers here for the Bengals. But I don't think he plays. If surprisingly he is given the go-ahead, then obviously he's in play. We'll just have to worry about him aggravating that shoulder injury. My guess is they hold him out in a short week, but again, monitor that as we go into Thursday. Defense, the Bengals are viable at 5-6. I don't love the price point, but the Jags, have been very turnover prone. Definitely one of the worst offenses in the league. So the Bengals are viable. The one thing I'll say, again, is in the showdown slates, whenever you have like a bad offense, the opposing defense seems to go a little bit over-owned. So like if the Bengals are going to be like 35 to 40% in GPPs, I just don't want any interest, right? If they're going to be lower owned, then they make more sense. CJ Uzomah, 4K, playable, 5 targets through 3 games is not great, but he is their number 1 tight end, so yeah, he's fine. McPherson, I feel a little bit better about him because I'm a little more confident with the Bengals offense. So Chris Evans only played a couple snaps, did have 2 catches on 2 targets. That was the previous game. So, Chris Evans played 11% snaps. So, 5 total snaps. Again, he is a good pass catching running back. I know him from Michigan, but he's just not playing a ton of snaps. So, just a large field tournament play. Perrine at $800, not getting a ton of work either. So, again, just a large field dart throw. Mixon is going to get a majority of the touches. But where I want to bring up some potential value here for the Bengals is the third wide receiver. So if T. Higgins is out, Auden Tate played about 60% of the snaps. Now, he only had 1 catch and 1 target. But factor in the price, right? He's $400. You need 1, maybe 2 catches for him to pay off his salary. And if T. Higgins is out and he's going to play over half the game, definitely viable. And then Mike Thomas didn't play as much, played 27% of the snaps, but he would still be viable too at $600. And that's really it. If you want to go a large field dart throw and Drew Sample, he's the backup tight end, doesn't have a catch so far, doesn't have a target so far this year, so hard to feel super confident about that. But yeah, guys, that's going to wrap it up. So if you have been enjoying the content, would really appreciate if you could hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't upload videos and go live. Again, I'll be live on Thursday, so make sure to check out the live stream, guys. Thanks again. Have a great day, and I'll see you all on Thursday.